Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's ODTN use case steam team meeting. Meeting is recorded. That will probably be published on YouTube. You might have a few in the backlog to publish that I forgot about, but I'll try to publish them as soon as I can. Thanks for joining. So the first topic is that the ONF Connect CFP has been closed. We have received, I think, 10 submissions. 12, the order of 10, 12 submissions. We have 8 slots, and we will be accepting 8, maybe 9 of them, depending on the quality. The review process is proceeding with the CFP team. And we will announce as per schedule the status of the talks. We might ask somebody to just update the talk, change it a little bit, and go over it in some sense, and change a few things here and there. Okay, I know some of you might have talks there. You will receive the confirmation as soon as we can, but. I think that all people here might have the talk accepted, so that's pretty good. So regarding the next topic, which is the ONF Connect demo, so I wanted to start discussing the possible scenarios of the demo and the different possibilities of integration and different hardware that we could put in. So I started. My idea for the demo is the following. So we will have a topology composed of many transponders. I believe 2 ROADMs from the tip group. If I'm not mistaken, those will be Momentum ROADM 20s. And as many open line system controllers and other transponders that we want. I currently have 2 Cassini transponders in the lab at ONF, so I plan to use those. I heard from Dominique in the Nokia group that they're willing to give 2 Nokia transponders to the demo. I know Stefan from Adva is interested in using their open line system in there. And also I had talked with the people from Juniper and possibly including one of theirs too. From a transponder point of view, I know Fujitsu was interested, although I don't see Suraj in the meeting. So I honestly don't know if they're going to join or not. So that's what I kind of had at the moment.
And actually, this is Harald from Infinera. We would also be interested. And actually, I was going to look for your guidance on what the scenarios you're looking for. So with this information, I could actually go back and make and clarify with my colleagues what we can tangibly basically add to the demo.
Yeah, sure. So the idea is that the basic demo, at least from my point of view, would be that we could connect, like let's say, all the transponders we have to both the ROADM setup and open line system based setup, and have ONOS route traffic independently of the topology after establishing a path as per usual ODTN workflow. So my demo plan is to at least have these 4 elements. So an optical end-to-end channel setup with the wavelength assignment on transponder and open line system, and on transponder and ROADMs. Configuration of power on the transponders manually, meaning that I would like to have a power workflow that does set up the power automatically based on some computation that is done between the transponders and the open line system, and transponders and the ROADMs, or the transponder and let's say G and Pi. But at the moment, I don't think we have the capability to do so in the time. So I would say that we commit for now to a manual configuration with the power config behavior that we have. And as a stretch goal, we can have an automatic power workflow, and include the modulation um, work that Sterlite is working on. So, because there are a few things that need to come into place, meaning that all of these have to be included for every device. That means that some device could support, let's say, wavelength, but not power, because the driver is somewhat lacking in ONOS for now. There could be different set of steps and different stages of implementation. To me, it's also interesting showing a possible different possible multi-vendor topology, because that's what the operators are interested in mixing and matching different things. So having said that, I would encourage everybody who is interested in contributing some equipment, either be local or remote, we can figure that out on the next step, to um, put what they could provide in this spreadsheet. Sorry, my so the idea is that whatever you can commit to the demo, you can provide to the demo, or you're interested to committing to the demo, put it here. What it is, there might be. I need to add like an integration with ONOS if it's already integrated and what state, and then we can discuss on how to put it, on how to integrate it with the demo. The idea is that I want to have a physical setup, but not everything has to be physical. Let's say, let's take an example of Adva or Infinera. You guys want to contribute your devices, but you cannot ship them. We could have a remote demo or a video demo, but at least something has to be local. So if you could provide a hardware locally at ONF Connect, it would be great. If not, we can still discuss on how you could participate in the demo, maybe remotely. That is why I have column local or remote. Just to remember everybody, ONF Connect is 10 to 13th of September in Santa Clara. So having said that, I could also talk and discuss after everything is put into the spreadsheet with the different people that provide their point of contact as per uh, their participation in the demo. Meaning, for example, Harald, if you want to contribute with your devices, with your open line system, with your transponders, with whatever Infinera is willing to contribute, just put it here, and then we can have a discussion on what's the state of integration with ONOS, what needs to be done towards the demo, and the amount of resources we can provide, and you can provide, and have a plan to actually achieve that. And that holds true for everybody. Any questions, comments? No?
No, it's pretty clear.
Okay, perfect. So I'll add so what I'm gonna do here is actually do this. I'm gonna make these bullets, and I would say that, for example, the integration with ONOS for the Cassini 1, 2, 3, and 4 is done. Meaning that I can demonstrate all of these with Cassini. I cannot demonstrate 6, for example, and I cannot demonstrate 5. But as soon as we have them, please do put this in. If you're unsure, just send me an email on like, okay, I like, for example, Harald, the Infinera devices, the Infinera drivers are somewhat old, so let's discuss the how personally, meaning that we can have a discussion which is not recorded and everything like that, on the state and how to go forward. So I would encourage everybody that I'm gonna send this out via email, but it's at this link. You can find it in the agenda that I sent via email. If you don't find it, just send me an email, but I will send it out on the different spreadsheet in the different mailing list we have. My hope is that we can start some testing with either local or remote hardware in August, and then do the final stretch of integration when I'm going to be in Menlo Park, which is the 26th of August. So the conference is, let's put it here. Conference is the 10th to 13th of September, so I'm going to be arriving around the 25th in Menlo Park. And if we have to do physical racking of the hardware, setup of the demo, and everything like that, it can be done by me there, and we can have physical integration at that point. And of this, I'm talking about, this is important, the demo that's going to happen at the ONF booth. Nothing prevents if any of your companies want to have their own booth to show some of your stuff at your own booth, and I'm gonna be very happy about it. But the demo I'm talking about here is the demo at the ONF booth, where we show ODTN as a reference design and an example platform. Okay. So that was all I had on the demo. Please do sign up on here. And if you don't know yet what you can provide, but you want to have a discussion with me on some possibilities, put your name here and just the contact email, and I'll reach out and see what's what, and we can have a personal discussion on what's the best way for you to engage. Okay, good. Send it out via email. Perfect. That was good. Okay, Puneet, Vishnu, do you want to give us an update on the modulation work that you guys are doing?
Hello, Andrea. Can you hear me?
Perfectly fine.
Yeah. So we have been working on this modulation workflow, sorry, the modulation, the code part. So, but we are quite unsure how to use that operational mode leaves. So, is it like, do you have any input? I read your mail which you sent me, but I am still not sure how the vendor is going to supply us with that information. So, from where should we gather those informations?
So that's a very good point. So just to put everybody up to speed, basically the operational mode, and let me see if I can fetch that. No, it's actually there. No, okay. Yeah, we need to go to the email. But the idea for everybody is that, so basically OpenConfig has an operational mode leaf on the optical channel that is vendor specific and identifies something that has a vendor ID and a value. In our case, we will need to use that operational mode for the modulation, let's say QPSK or something like that. The problem is, how do we gather what vendor ID corresponds to QPSK, for example? So my idea, Vision, is basically we do this. So as I said in the email, we basically provide a class that does get and set of that operational ID number, okay? Because the paths to do it are identical. What is going to be different is going to be what we send down in there. What we send down in there is going to be hard-coded in a behavior. So we will have a class that every vendor will have to implement that will have a method, let's say translate or call it something like that, where we basically give it the number we get from the device, because when you call get on the vendor ID, you basically get a list of vendor IDs. That list of vendor IDs we will give to this method, and we expect that method to return us an object that identifies per ID what that ID is. Let's say we give it ID 1, it returns us a constant that is QPSK. Okay? Am I making sense?
Okay. Yeah, actually, I was thinking of like, what do you think about the possibilities of tweaking the like Yang model? Maybe we can define an enum for like QPSK 16 and 8 QAM, and maybe we can define a leaf for modulation separately.
So that is a very good. That's a very good question. So I think that the OpenConfig standard will not accept it because they already taken into account modulation, and this is what they came up with. But it's worth trying. So, but I don't believe this is going to be a fast process in the sense that by the time we actually get to, if they accept it, we get this into the open config standard and we make everybody support it, it's going to be a very long process. So since we actually have a possibility of achieving this through current means, I think we still need to address this within ONOS with the way I described. And in the meantime, you can come up with a proposal very similar to the one I have down for the power range, which I will discuss later, to extend OpenConfig, including that modulation capability.
Okay, okay. I'll give it a thought and I will let you know.
Okay.
So, and what about the OSNR leaf? I can see only electronic SNR leaf in open config models. I couldn't find optical SNR leaf, but I searched some research papers where they are describing some relation to theoretically convert ESNR to OSNR. So, do you think it will work?
So another very good question. So my belief, and please everybody here, correct me if I'm wrong, is that the OSNR is not really a device-specific object. It's not really a device-specific value. It's like a path-wide parameter that depends on many things, among which link dispersion, amplifiers, and like values that are set across many devices. So I really don't know if it's something that the OpenConfig standard should actually have, because we're talking about one single device.
Actually, but still we are interested in the OSNR at the receiver point, right? So do we need to be concerned about the OSNR in the path? So because anyway, we need to extract what is the value of OSNR at the receiver end.
Well, so if I could just make a couple of comments here. So it's Kevin Jones here from Juniper. In terms of the coherent receiver, whilst often they will report OSNR as well as ESNR, whilst I don't know all of the internals of how they do the calculations, most of those devices are actually deriving the OSNR from the ESNR anyway, I believe. So I think, I don't know that you need to have both as long as you have one. And because the way that I believe that most of the coherent receivers work is that they look at the noise they are measuring in the electrical domain after detection, or look at the bit error rate and use this to estimate the OSNR. Now, if you have a different device in the network, an optical spectrum analyzer, for example, that's probing the OSNR separately, then that's a different discussion. But I think if you're looking at the coherent receiver, I think it's derived from ESNR.
Then it's actually the possibility that True Vision you are outlining, which you actually compute the OSNR based on the ESNR. So to do that in our existing platform with ONOS, what you will need to do is you will need to provide a class that queries the device for the ESNR, and returns that ESNR, and then another class that getting the ESNR does compute the OSNR out of it. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, but you will need extra information such as the baud rate of the channel in order to be able to do that, because OSNR, ESNR is the signal to noise ratio of that channel over the bandwidth of that channel, whereas the OSNR is the signal to noise ratio of the signal versus to the noise in 0.1 of a nanometer. So one of the additional pieces of information you need to know is the baud rate to do that conversion.
Yeah. Puneet.
Okay.
Hello.
Then,
Yeah, Andrew, this is Puneet.
Please go ahead, Puneet.
Yeah, I have few comments here. The idea is actually to pick the OSNR is something like we are getting some theoretical values from OLS regarding the OSNR, which receiver has to tune to. So what we are planning actually to, if you're thinking actually right, that the theoretical value of the OSNR, which is being circulated by OLS domain controller to the main controller, should be within the range of this value which we will pick from the receiver side of it. And that I think is a important point, right, to check that whether it is within the range or not, right?
Yeah, okay, so I see the question. So you're saying the OLS is saying, I believe I can deliver you an OSNR of 14 dBs, and the receiver says, okay, I'm receiving 14.5 dBs or whatever OSNR, and you want to compare the delivered OSNR versus the required OSNR. Or in fact, it's delivered at the transceiver versus the delivered by the line. So you're right. The most important thing is to get those into the same format, whether that is in OSNR or in ESNR. I don't think it really matters, but you have to get them into a consistent format.
Absolutely right. Yeah. So I don't want to actually do the calculation by separately. I want to pick that value directly from the hardware itself and do some sort of validations in terms of maybe some sort of offset value I can actually define. If it goes out of that reach, we will actually maybe a possibility to roll back to the previous configuration, right? Something like that, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. So certainly some of the coherent transceivers will provide you with OSNR and ESNR. I'm not familiar what's in the Yang model here, but you can often read that from both devices. I guess potentially you could also get the OLS to give you ESNR and OSNR.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure, I got your point, right? So.
Okay, so Puneet and Vishnu, what I would do is that in parallel to the modulation, you could also start writing something about this and present it as what you plan to do in this segment. I actually like the fact that the two values don't add to the USNR per se, but need just match what you get from the open line system rather and then the transceiver. I still believe that.
Yeah, Andrea.
Yeah, please.
Andrea, about one more thing, I think, apart from we will present that part, that's not a problem. But we want some sort of, connect with the open config part as well, that how we will actually define the leaves, and it will be in line to the plan of the open config team as well. So we require your support in that part here.
Yes. Okay. No, I can provide that. We have pretty good contacts with the open config team. I would actually bring in also Arturo, which has been had relationship with them in the past. And we'll try to see if they have it on the roadmap and if they are planning to support it. At the same time, we reach out for the power extension that we are planning to retrieve the expected the working power of each given port or transceiver or optical channel. Okay.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah. So having said that, this again, I encourage everybody to take a look at this allowed power range proposal that we put together. Just to give back some ideas, this is basically asking the OpenConfig standard to augment one model to allow us to retrieve the allowed input and output power, meaning the range at which the card can output. Like really, how much light can it send out? Like which power of that? Really, in terms of capabilities, hardware capabilities, because at the moment it's not defined anywhere at all. So we're thinking about adding this, and probably the OSNR thing will actually come out pretty similar to this, basically asking the guys at OpenConfig to augment it. What I would ask everybody is to take a look at this and provide your comments. It's a fairly simple augmentation of the model. I don't see any big changes and any major issues of having this included. But if somebody doesn't agree with the proposal, please send me an email, or let's discuss on Slack about it so we can come up with a better proposal for OpenConfig. Any thoughts? No? Okay, good. Then an update on what the work that's currently going on. So, okay. Well, my story is basically now gone. It's ongoing work that I'm doing. We're still currently working on the multi-instance. We have it working, it's just that we have not pushed the stuff yet because it's somewhat tricky and we want to do it just right. A very good work by Ramon is that he contributed the Metro Hall Open Roadum drivers. Those are here. These are full-fledged Open Roadum 2.2 compliant drivers that enable ONOS to basically configure Open Roadum devices that are 2.2 compliant. So these are the classes and the elements that Ramon implemented. I had a pass on it. Alessio and Kiran did a pass on them too. I plan to merge them pretty soon. So with these, ODTN will be capable of leveraging not only an OpenLine system, but also an Open Roadum 2.2 compliant device. I encourage everybody to take a look at the patch, and if there is anything major that you guys want to address before merging, just comment it on, and we'll make sure Ramon addresses them. I know that these were used in a demo in conjunction with ONOS and TAPI and two transponders 1 week ago, basically, and that is the same exact version that was contributed to the ODTN workflow. Okay, then there was some very good work from Buyen at ONF, where we had different elements that were missing, such as like there was a prefix map missing in edit config, and a couple of things in the TAP implementation for the OpenLine system. Another major thing that we updated the custom Roadum, Open Roadum UI to actually be usable with both transponders, OpenLine system, and Roadum. So with this, we're capable of looking at a device and seeing a little bit more information through an Open Roadum, through the Open Roadum UI, which is actually now basically an optical UI. I can show you an example if you go into the wiki.onosproject.org. And you search for the ODTN wiki. I don't know why this is taking so long. Buyen created a very nice page, which is called UI for ODTN. which outlines how you could show some of the things that he's done. Basically adding one OpenLine system, which is a simulator, and two Cassini simulators. And this shows the different ports. There still needs to be some stuff, like this thing says Rodum, but these are actually OCH ports on the Cassini device, and you can actually change the target power on your device if it supports if it supports the power config behavior. So that's pretty cool. I think it's interesting. It shows the value of the port, the type of the port, like the maximum and minimum frequency that it supports, the type of grid, the power range. And I think we will use this in the demo at ONF Connect to show some of the capabilities of the device. There will be some tweaking of the things. Again, probably removing some of the Rodum specific elements to make it a little bit more general. A little bit more general UI, but I think this is pretty cool. So that is currently the work that has been done during this week. Any questions? No. Okay, good. I don't think we have anybody from the TAPI team on the meeting, so I will skip the TAPI update unless somebody knows more than I do. Okay, no. Another element is that I'm still searching for the co-host of the call. If somebody wants to step up and help me manage the call and do it when I can't, I'll be happy to onboard him and help him do it with like all the passwords and stuff like that. And it's a good opportunity to get more involved in ONF2 as something, because you will be included in some of more discussions because of the backing of this to be capable of dealing the call as I am. So if somebody wants to do it, please step up. GNPy, I don't have any update myself, but is there anybody that has? Kevin, maybe?
I don't have anything at the moment, Andrea.
Okay, that's fine. I think we're still progressing. I would have to get back to the people from Polytechnic of Turin to see how their implementation is going along, if their work is getting done, and see how that goes. Yeah, a little bit of an update on ONOS config. Last EST was about it. We are now capable of doing basically an end-to-end workflow of set, get, subscribe to a GNMI capable device with dealing with rollback of the configuration that was set to it. We're capable of working with multiple devices, with certificates, a plain text, and we were also capable of talking with a Stratum device. So if the device is a GNMI device, this could be interesting to you. The netconf adapter will come, it's just not there yet. If you have any questions, just drop me an email and I'll be happy to answer that. That was all for myself. Do you guys have any other thoughts, comments that you might want to address? Okay. If not, I'll encourage everybody to put the information that you have for the ONF Connect demo in the spreadsheet. Include it in these two links. And if you have comments on what you would like to see, if there is something that your device is capable of and you think it would be very fancy to show it off at the demo, and it is on the ODTN roadmap, please comment on here. Just drop me an email, and we can then discuss personally with everybody who's interested. I'll make sure of that, and I'll give an update of the demo every week to make sure that we are up to speed and we don't miss any important thing, and we arrive at the last minute to do integration, which is something that I don't really want. Okay. Well done. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining. I'll see you next week. Please do connect with me if you have any questions or comments. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay.